guys? I appreciate y'all coming back for hopefully this quick little series. Let me matter of fact, we'll just pick you up. Sorry for the shakiness, I'm caught on a tire. And here's what we got going on. Let me weave through all the other projects and stuff we got going on, and we have my 3 horsepower 79cc. We'll call this the Turf Surfer because it's basically a homemade GoPed running a Harbor Freight engine. This thing's gonna be kind of fun to scoot around. Let me get this tripod set up, repositioned, and we'll get to building. Alright, here's what we got. If you happen to see the last clip, not last clip, I'm sorry, the last quick video I put out on this, I had cut the original. This is a Schwinn adult style push scooter. It came with a 20-inch back wheel. It has a 26-inch front. And because where I live, I'm going to have to commute out to get into the town. I have to go through several dirt roads. So I kind of wanted to do something other than the smaller push style scooters. I do have a couple friends now interested in building these. They kind of want to see how mine comes out. So that's why I went with this, and that I already had this. A good friend of mine, before unfortunately he lost his life, he gave me a great deal on this. So I'm kind of building this as memorial to him because he knew I was going to end up building something out of it, not keeping it as a stock push scooter. So where I've gotten to this is from chopping the frame, and I extended it about 25 inches to meet my needs because I wanted a big platform where I could stand up on, and I'll get y'all closer, you'll kind of see. I have, I believe this is 3/16 aluminum plate that I've drilled and tapped into the frame with a 1/4-20 panhead bolts, I believe is what they are, so I was able to kind of get them flush. What I did is I went ahead and ordered grip tape. I picked out a cool, colorful design, not really colorful, but a cool design for a skateboard, so I can have grip tape on here. So once your feet are planted, you're going to get some grip so you're not slipping and sliding. Now, let me make sure you're in frame for this. We'll turn it here. And I can, with this camera, I went back to one of my old school cameras because I like the zoom feature. Alright, so what I got here is the brand new Harbor Freight 3 horsepower or 79cc, however you want to look at it. I have a simple go-kart motor plate. Sorry, about forgot what I was saying. Now, I've never used these engines, but this engine to me was the perfect size for what I wanted to do. We only need a little bit of horsepower. A 6.5, you could do it, but the engines are so much different. Like, it's probably double the weight of this. So this is why I wanted to go with something smaller. It is going to be just a hair offset. Right now in the current configuration, I was playing with the measurements last night. I need to move this clutch over to the other side about 2 inches so my clutch and my rear tire will completely line up. So before I get doing that, the plate, my plate right now is just sitting on here. What I wanted to do to get started, I didn't know this, oh excuse me, the 79cc engine doesn't have the holes drilled into the flange. What you got to do is take this little plate, and I already verified you got the 4 holes. Those 4 holes will bolt right direct. They come with the bolts to bolt the motor, the plate straight to the motor, and these 4 holes are the exact spacing for a 6.5 horsepower plate. If you go on eBay, and that's where I buy a lot of my parts from, if you go on there and just type in 6.5 horsepower Predator motor plate, they're not expensive. The cool thing is everything's going to basically be bolted together and just welded. Right now what I'm going to do, so I can kind of get started, before I move this, I'm going to go ahead and mark where I got everything kind of sitting. I really should grab a Sharpie, just so I have an idea where I left this, because like I said, I do need to move it 2 inches more over. What we're going to do now that's marked, this motor does not have oil, it's never been ran, so there's no gas, nothing. I'll go ahead and do this off camera real quick. All we're going to do is just literally that. I'm going to go ahead, run my 4 bolts in, get this bolted up, and I'll flip it back over when I bring you back. So that's going to be the first thing, and when I do the final assembly, this is just mock-up, I will use Loctite on everything, and I really recommend use Loctite. You don't want stuff vibrating apart. Lock nuts, Loctite, whatever it's going to take to keep everything together. So just hang on to the second clip. Let me get this knocked out. We'll be right back with you. All right. Went ahead, got the 4 bolts on here. I got them started by hand. Came in with my little impact, just snugged them up. This plate will only go on one way, and you'll find that out when I had it reversed. 2 of the bolts would line up, the other 2 wouldn't. So I flipped it around, lines up perfect. Now, since I'm still working on this, the next best thing to do while it's like this is going to be take my plate. I'm going to go ahead and run the bolts. These this is very thin. These are 1-inch bolts. I've got standard washers and lock nuts. I hate to go ahead and use them, and I will actually go out and buy another set of the lock nuts, because I like to, when I'm on final assembly, I want to lock everything down. I'll also use a little bit of Loctite upon final assembly. Now the point, what we're doing here is we want to get this bolted up. I want to make sure I can get my bolts all the way to the back of these holes, and to me that's going to be important. The reason why I want to get them to the back of the holes, so when the plate and the engine are set, before I tack everything up and start bringing the engine forward, I want to make sure these holes are 90 degrees to the back wheel. Make sure they slide forward. I want also my chain where I can get it snug, but as it stretches over time, that I have plenty of adjustability forward. That's going to be important. So in the end, whenever it's time in years, hopefully as this thing gets used and played with, as the chain wears out and it's time to replace it, that I know when I cut a new piece of chain, I'll have the right length, how many lengths I need in a total chain, and that when it goes back on, it will give me the room of adjustability that I need without having to come up with an odd number, or I'm starting dead in the center of these slots and I only got so much adjustability forward. So the next thing, I'll do this again off camera. There's no point y'all watching me. All right, here's kind of where the whole steps, what I've gotten it down to. I see one issue. Let's get this chain to follow the roller. So I need to tension this chain, which now my bolts, even though I try to leave them snug, I need to get it a little bit more forward. I need to make sure, like I was stating earlier, everything has to run in a true complete line. The clearances right here between this tire and this frame are going to be very tight. There's several ways I could do this. I could take this, put it in a press, and thin this up just a hair by pressing it in, just maybe an inch or two, just in this general region. Make sure you can see it on camera. That way I can get a little bit more clearance. But as I'm sitting here moving the wheel, as tension pulls on this, I can see that I should clear. Any of the noise you're hearing is just coming out of the clutch, but I definitely need to tighten the chain. And like I stated earlier, the biggest thing, all my adjustment now is to the back of the slot. So even though this is loose, I have plenty of adjustment forward. I have moved this motor side to side. As you see, I went ahead and threw a C-clamp to make sure it's not going to tip over. You'll also notice the exhaust is in a straight line with my back tire. I have an issue. I have a way to solve this. Of course, I'm waiting on good old eBay and the mail. I've gotten an exhaust, I guess it's technically for a mud mower. It comes out almost 2 3/4 out and will kick back. It'll keep a muffler on it, so I'm not running a straight pipe. I don't want to have to get into back pressure, rejetting the carb or nothing like that. I just don't need my tire heating up. I got the road to do that. It should flow in a complete straight line. From here, you're going to have to do just simple measurements. You want to make sure whatever the distance here from the edge here going in Get you a little closer. From here to there is going to be roughly the same as here. You want to check your other side. You want to do 100 measurements to make sure that motor's not kicked either direction. It needs to be in a full straight line. So the next goal right now, what I'm going to do, and I'll do this off camera of course, there's no point in just, yeah, something is not in line right now. That's what I'm going to double check. As I've been rolling it, you can kind of, well, actually I got zoom on this one, so we'll zoom it in. You notice the teeth are kicked to this side, so that's telling me as it's rolling with the front there, the front is in the, I'm sorry, let me explain this a little bit better, I'm mumbling. The teeth are in the center of the chain up there, but when we get back here, they're kicked to one side. So something is not in alignment, and that's the next thing I want to make sure. Get everything in dead alignment, so once it's technically running dead true, everything stays in alignment. From that point on, I will loosen the bolts, tension my chain. Alright, something I want to make very apparent, something that I figured out. Whenever you're using these bicycle sprockets, they're nothing more than a sprocket with a bolt that goes through, and you pinch this bit of rubber. Let me see if I can get you off the stand. Sorry for the crappy lighting, I'm getting my studio done. All it is 2 pieces of rubber on one each side of the spoke with 3 of these half moon pieces, and they got a nut and bolt. Now the one thing I didn't realize, that when I started mocking this up, not on this version but the first original version with a bicycle engine, I must have not tightened up all the nuts and bolts. Now as I'm spinning it, and keep doing this, bolt or C-clamp that motor plate down and keep spinning it. You want to make sure everything runs smooth. Any adjustments before you weld that plate to your frame. After about 30 minutes of just messing with it, because this is so critical. I cannot stress how critical this is to make sure every single thing is square, because as I was setting it up, if this chain jumps this gear, you will lock the back tire up. You don't want to be flying at high speeds and that back wheel locks up because of some misalignment. Well, alright, time to, now that we got the motor and the rear sprocket all set, it's time to attach the throttle. Well, we're down to the point of about to fire this off. Let me show you how I did the throttle linkage, because as I stated earlier, this does not come set up for a throttle linkage. If you notice that right there, this one came with a drilled hole. Some of these engines, depending on who actually manufactured them for Harbor Freight, those won't. All you got to do, just get a small drill bit, drill a hole right here. Let me see if I can get you to show you this. If you notice right here, I have a simple L bracket. I just had a hole drilled here and one at the bottom. And what I did, if I can get to show you this, if you notice this plate right here, the governor, I took the 8mm bolt out. It's kind of hard, it's way in there. I lifted it up, slid the bracket underneath, and you just got to bolt it down. Now the tip of the day, let's get this out of the way. That right there, that little bolt is the one that goes in the governor. If you want to save yourself some headache, you got 3 bolts that are identical that hold the gas tank on. You got one mount here, one mount here, and the other one's right up under this hose. Swap. What I'm going to do is actually use, well, they're all 3 the same, but I'm going to put the shorter one from the governor, that little one, I'm going to actually put it right through here because it goes through a thin little tab. So that should be what will hold my gas tank back on. And as far as the spring, I just went to my local Ace Hardware. I don't know if you can kind of notice, this thing had 2 long ears on it. What I did is I grabbed spring by spring. I think this is a 4-inch, had 2 long ears. I took, bent, test tried it, it worked. I cut off the extra. I came right through this governor arm, just loosened this motor case. I did it right at the top, let it come right behind the bolt, and then turn around, cinched it down. Now as you can see, I got very tight spring force. I do still have, I might end up taking this out. This is the throttle stop. I think while I'm testing, I'll figure that out. But I have the adjustability to loosen it to make this thing go faster, get more RPMs. But that's really about it. To take the gas tank light off, like I said, it's 1, 2, 3. You remove that, you can fold it back, undo the little clamp, take it off, a little barbed right there, and you can see the very 3 thin mount. So I don't think it really matters where you end up, where you're going to end up reusing that bolt. I'm just going to do it from this outside because it's very short and it'll be quick to go in. So like I said, just to recap, simple L bracket. I just have it running behind. And of course I got to get it off my stand. I'll just run a zip tie through here, zip tie it to the frame, and I have this longer cord going up to my handlebar. So for right now, we're going to call this done. I think I got this thing pretty much where I want it. I'm going to go ahead and install the gas tank. The next episode, I'll go ahead and get it fueled up. Sorry, coming back around this side. Let me see if I can find. We're going to fuel it up, oil it up, take it for a test run. Let me get away from that. I got some 40-to-1 premix. I really want to empty this bottle out because what I'll do in my backpack, I'll just put some non-ethanol gas in here or use this. It's not going to hurt nothing to run a little bit of premix in these motor, especially it's brand new, so that way it'll keep everything oiled up while it's breaking in. So that should be about it for this episode. Everything is there. Oh, I forgot to show off, this was that exhaust that finally showed up. It was very inexpensive on eBay. It came with a new gasket, 2 lock washers. I didn't use none of that. All I did was just reuse the original nuts. The gasket was brand new because I had never fired this motor off and just screwed this on by hand. It's pretty tight, and hopefully that will give you an idea what it looks like. Kind of wanted to remove the bulkiness of this away, and I believe doing this one-armed or one-handed, that's basically the look of it. So the only thing that's going to stick up is the tank. Well, I'll get that installed and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Well guys, I appreciate you watching the video. This is me getting back into doing YouTube, so hopefully you rate, subscribe, definitely subscribe, share this, get your friends to subscribe. I'm trying to get the channel to 100,000 subscribers. The next video, we will fuel this up, oil it up, and start test riding it, see what it needs from there. And you never know, I have a couple friends already wanting some of these, so we might just have a little GoPed ride all around town. Thank you so much for watching.